Today we're talking about Polo G and thekidlaroi. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It Music Review Season 9. Season 9, I'm back with another episode, and today we are talking about Polo G. Polo G finally dropped his album, Lord Absolutely Mighty. I'm very excited. Now, will we be doing an album review? Probably. We've done every Polo G album review. It would make sense to do this one too. The only thing we didn't do is he had a Hall of Fame Deluxe, and I just did a couple of track reviews and called it a day. But we might review the whole thing for sure. There's some tracks I want to cover during the week. But for now, here's my one track review we're going to do today. We're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be doing Polo G featuring thekidlaroi, because thekidlaroi features always go hard. And I was like, you know what? I was thinking, either this one or the Glorilla track, but, I was like, you know what, we'll do thekidlaroi. Why not? We'll do that today. So we got Polo G featuring thekidlaroi, Fallin, and yeah, we're going to go over it today, guys. So if you're new here, if you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, make sure you turn on notifications. We're dropping new content every single gosh darn dang, every single day at this point. But yeah. Let's get into it, guys. I got a couple of points I want to go over and how I'm feeling about this song. So let's get into it. Now, my first point is, I am going to be honest, guys. The beat is a little generic, but I do like the beginning. I do like when the strings come in, etc. I think the beat is okay. I think it does the job. Is it the best beat I've ever heard? Is it a little generic? Yeah, I can't even lie to y'all. I mean, if I wanted to sit up here and lie and be like, this beat's amazing, it sounds amazing, I think it sounds alright. I think there's some good moments, like I love the beginning of the intro and stuff like that. But when the beat kicks in, the beat kind of loses steam, and then it loses steam, and then it just like, kind of feels like a little bit too old Polo G, where I'm like, I don't really like this. Reminds me too much of the piano trap beat days. And, that's like PTSD for me, alright? That's like PTSD in my world, alright? You start bringing me back into the piano trap beat days, I will actually start crying in front of you. Like, guys, piano beats, they do really trigger me. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. They really do trigger me. And if you were listening to rap music that time when every single rapper was using piano trap beats for every fucking song, you know the pain. And I thank God we're way past that now in the world, alright? Thank God. That's one of those, like, hip-hop eras where I'm like, I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad it's never... I'm glad nobody does that shit anymore, because it got old very fast. But yeah, my next point too, my second point, Polo G is really good on the hook here. I love the singing. I like the vocals. I think Polo G did really good here. It's a pretty good hook, and I think it's one of his best hooks, and I think this hook would get stuck in your head, and I think this hook would actually be a good hook to even get stuck in your head, I think this hook definitely does and deserve replay value. I think this is one of those you can replay back. But I will say this though, verse-wise, going into my third point already, verse-wise, Polo G could have been a little better, but we'll go into that. So yeah, those are the cliff notes, I guess you could say, of how I'm feeling about this song. And now let's get into the review. Alright, Polo G featuring thekidlaroi, Rain Fallin. Let's talk about the beat. The beat's definitely alright. I like the soulful production here, paired with those nice strings in the back. It just definitely all hits. Now, again, I will say this though. When the beat part comes in, it gets very generic. It gets kind of generic pretty fast. But it does get the job done, and I'm not going to knock it too much production-wise. I think the beat's alright, I really wish that, beautiful strings, beautiful soulful production, etc., beautiful things like that I really wish, and, I really wish rappers, they would just sometimes put a little bit more into the instrumentation, a little bit more into those drums, alright? Can we get better on these drums? Can we add a little bit more to the beat, Can we do a beat switch up? Let's do something a little bit different here because, I think, guys, I think a lot of drums, a lot of drum loops, a lot of trap drum loops, very one note, very one dimensional, very like on the nose, I can go from B to B to B to A to A to A. I'm going to figure it out, alright? I'm going to automatically know what I'm getting myself into, and I think music shouldn't be like that. That's when I think, you're doing a style a little bit too much here. When it's a little bit too on the nose, when it's a little bit like, guys, I just can't stand boring production, alright? I've been doing this for 3 years. 3 whole years of doing this. There's a reason why, guys, I don't do many rap reviews anymore, because the same problems are here. Production is so basic, so boring, alright? I could go to sleep sometimes with these beats. And I'm going to be fully 100% transparent with y'all. I could give a fuck less about most of these beats. These beats are like if I put my head into a graveyard and I said, "Ghost, come talk back to me," or whatever, And then I get the same ghost just talking back to me. That's what it is. They're like the same voices in your head just talking to you. Like, switch it up. Switch it up. God. I mean, Lord mighty. God. I feel like a broken record sometimes when I talk about this stuff. But, music is a very time-sensitive thing. Guys, I would hate to be wasting my time listening to boring production all day, and I was doing that, guys. I'm trying to get past that. There's a reason why we don't do many rap reviews anymore, if you always wanted to know. But yeah, again, production is very on the nose, but it gets the job done. And even with all my complaining, even with all my my criticism towards the beat, I still think the beat's pretty good. I think the beat's A1, whatever. It gets the job done. Polo G sounds good on here. The hook is really good. Vocals are great. The singing on the hook is just good. I feel like it would get stuck in your head. I mean, everything here absolutely hits. I think the hook is really good here. It's one of those things where I think it'll get stuck in your head. It works, alright? The hook's good. I think it's one of the best Polo G hooks that I've heard in a long goddamn time, alright? I'm gonna be fully transparent with y'all, alright? I'm fully transparent with y'all. Polo G on the hooks. I've always complained about Polo G on the hooks. I've always think Polo G's delivered a great verse. But hook-wise, I'm always generic hook. And that was a problem to Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame had a lot of generic hooks. But I think Polo G has went past that. I think Polo G has worked through that. And I think now we're getting to the point where great vocals, great singing here. The hook absolutely hits. Now, Polo G's verse was good too. I always like his melodic rapping in it. And this definitely gives that kind of old Polo G style that I'm used to hearing from the GOAT and stuff like that. And Hall of Fame. But I think it absolutely works here, and I think it actually, works marvel. So, in my opinion, I do think it works here, in my opinion. It's a good verse, good flows, But yeah, now, let's talk about Kid LAROI. Now, the Kid LAROI is actually, I guess, the switch up in this song. So, Polo G's doing most of the singing here, but the Kid LAROI comes on here. And this man starts actually rapping, full-on rapping. He's not even singing. I mean, Polo G was melodically rapping. He wasn't even melodically rapping like he's been doing recently. But, yeah, he came on there, and I will say this, though. I do like Kid LAROI's verse. I think the flow is good. But, hey, don't call me a hater yet, alright? I think there's something that I think we can all universally agree with me if you've listened to the song. When you listen to the song, the Kid LAROI's verse comes on. You're jamming out to it. You're enjoying it. The flow's coming in. Everything is seeping through. I mean, Lord mighty, you're losing it. You're in the flow state. The song is kicking in. You're enjoying the song. And then, imagine the Kid LAROI verse is going on and you're jamming out to it, you're vibing to it. And then it just feels like his verse gets cut off short. And then the hook comes back, but when the hook comes back, the verse has been cut off from the hook, so the hook just doesn't hit the same. And it weirdly doesn't flow with the rest of the beat. So next time you're listening to the Kid LAROI verse, that's what's happening here. And to be honest with you, in my humble opinion, I think that's bad. I think the Kid LAROI literally forgot to finish his verse. I feel like they forgot to record the rest of it. Like, what happened to the rest of the verse? I don't know. Was it bad? Did it have to get cut off? Like, what happened? But yeah. Overall, guys, I think this song's actually pretty good for the Polo G album. It's not a bad Polo G song. It's one of the more classic feeling ones. And if you love the Kid LAROI, hey, he's actually rapping on here. So that's a plus. Overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. So 7 out of 10. What'd you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Yeah. Bye.